Coming up, water woes continue in parts of the region after the holiday weekend Arctic blast.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Across the region, folks are having issues with burst pipes and no access to water due to last week's Arctic blast. WYMT's Jordan Mullins spoke to officials in Floyd County about some of the challenges they are facing.
Due to cold weather throughout the region, many homes are without water, including many in Floyd County.
What's happened is the tanks are emptying out. So now they're trying to get those leaks fixed so they get those tanks, full again and get water back out to the residents in the county.
With approximately 1,000 customers without water in Floyd County alone, service may be out up to 3 days.
A lot of your low-lying areas may have some water, but it's going to take a few days till they identify all the leaks. They get those leaks fixed, get those tanks full again, that they can get water flowing.
But folks are pitching in and distributing bottled water in the meantime.
We're going to do what we can to help Southern Water and our residents to have access to water.
Working together to aid in a region-wide issue.
Today, it's a problem in every county around us. Water is today because of the temperatures. This isn't just isolated to Southern Water. Every county around us and every county, I would say, in eastern Kentucky is dealing with this same issue today.
And taking care of one another. In Floyd County, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
And we have certainly heard of other issues around the region. Floyd County Judge Executive Robbie Williams added that along with the old Wheelwright Gym, the Floyd County Community Center in Martin will have bottled water tomorrow for folks who may still be without service. And even more issues are possible as the region warms up, even with preparation for the weather. Both commercial and residential customers have experienced plumbing-related complications. Some areas are seeing road closings and boil water advisories as repairs are being completed. However, many homes and businesses relying on private plumbers to take care of their repairs are still waiting amidst a plumber shortage. Crews are doing what they can to keep up with the emergencies.
We've done our best to try to keep up, and we're fairly large size service company here in town with several vans on the road, and our phones were bombarded this weekend and still are being. We had some exuberant wait times, and we're doing our best to try to help everybody out.
That company out in Bowling Green, but certainly this is a statewide issue. As everything starts to thaw, monitor your house for leaks that could indicate a burst pipe. If you do notice a leak or flooding, you should turn off your water and call a plumber immediately.
Well, we saw those temperatures sneak back above freezing today. They're sneaking back below freezing now, but I think the countdown is on. We just have a few hours below freezing to go, less than 12, I think, before we are above freezing for quite a while. Here's a look outside right now. All that's peaceful out there at several of our locations. Hazards at 30. It's 32 right at freezing in London right now. You see temperatures region-wide. Manchester's getting a little chill there. 24 equaled by Clintwood at 24. Jonesville's at 21 and 23 in Jacksboro. But many locations still hanging out around freezing right now. Even Irvin at 24 as well. All quiet on Pinpoint Doppler. We should expect to see that with high pressure in place. Partly to mostly clear tonight. Mid-20s for many, though some of those outlying spots so you see already down into the lower 20s. I think we're headed back above freezing tomorrow, and we'll stay there for a while. Details in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. The Housing Development Alliance in Hazard received a big donation today. The HDA was gifted a $50,000 donation from Elmer Whitaker and the Whitaker Foundation. The money will be used to help fund the affordable housing programs and flood recovery projects. The Whitaker Foundation also plans to send volunteers to help with those projects. Earlier today, volunteers at the New Hope Food Pantry in Hazard were preparing for their weekly food giveaway, but those with the pantry say they are serving more and more people as time goes on. Volunteers say the cost of groceries, fuel costs, and the flood among other things, are driving more people to turn to food pantries for assistance. New Hope Church pastor John Kidwell says these pantries need more donors and more volunteers to keep up with this demand.
There are many food pantries in our area, but pick one to support. Consider supporting it with a monthly donation on a regular basis. That would be very helpful. We can always use volunteers here. We have a volunteer coordinator who tries to schedule folks out, but you know, there are always people that are on vacation, people that are traveling.
Kidwell adds that it's important for everyone to look at those who need this assistance with compassion, because you never know when you could be on the receiving end of help. A scary situation for law enforcement officers last night in Bell County, but fortunately nobody was hurt. Deputies say it started when Michael Shane Douglas at Pineville shot at a car with 2 passengers along Highway 119. Deputies found Douglas near a home on Haley Lane. That's when he allegedly fired a shot towards them. Pineville Police Chief Brandon Hollingsworth was at the scene and says they will continue doing all they can to keep their community safe.
We love our community. We love the kids in the community. We love everybody in the community. We're going to make sure that this community is a safe place for people to live in and to come and visit, and that's what we're here for.
Douglas is facing several charges and is being held at the Bell County Detention Center on a $500,000 bond. His preliminary hearing is set for January 3rd. Investigators say freezing temperatures could be to blame for a man's death in Pulaski County. While the coroner has not released the exact cause of death, Somerset police say 49-year-old Donald Perdue was found Friday afternoon behind a business. Perdue's sister Melissa tells us her brother was likely outside alone for hours after he checked out of Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital. She says he was a recent amputee and had a traumatic brain injury. Somerset police tell us he checked himself out of the hospital on Thursday afternoon.
When they found my brother, they were very hesitant to tell me the condition of his body. And without going into too much detail, it was frostbite to the most extreme level.
Melissa said they found items like a can, lighters, and burnt paper near her brother's body, leading officials to believe he had tried to keep himself warm by starting a small fire. We reached out to Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital but have not yet heard back. Melissa says they haven't returned her calls either. Lawmakers in Kentucky head back to work in Frankfort next week. Republicans increase their supermajorities by 6 seats. Governor Andy Beshear says there's work to be done. As Kimberly Kagi reports, he's hoping for some changes.
Come January, the gavel will echo in the legislature, marking the beginning of a new legislative session. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear hopes lawmakers prioritize education with his Education First plan, providing money for a 5% raise for every school employee, universal pre-K for all 4-year-olds, and restore teachers' pensions.
We fell from 42nd to 44th in teacher pay last year. That is unacceptable, and that's not investing in our future. It's not investing in our kids. So our Education First plan would provide a 5% raise to every educator, everyone in the public school system, on top of what the local districts are already doing.
In November, Beshear signed an executive order allowing people with certain medical conditions to possess and use small amounts of medical marijuana legally purchased in another state. But he says it's not enough.
People need relief. I did it for the veteran suffering from PTSD that may be having suicidal thoughts, the family with the child with such severe epilepsy that they can't function, somebody staring at a vial of opioids, knowing what it could do and what it's already done to our communities.
And for lawmakers who disagree,
they are ignoring the will of the people.
A new session bringing the chance for change.
As Kimberly Kagi reporting, the 2023 session of the Kentucky General Assembly begins January 3rd. The U.S. Department of Transportation is now investigating Southwest Airlines over holiday flight cancellations. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg says the weather is not a valid excuse for the company, as Southwest canceled more flights than any other major airline. The company accounted for 87% of all U.S. flight cancellations Tuesday, according to flight tracking website FlightAware. Buttigieg says customers whose flights were canceled are entitled to a cash refund and to compensation such as a hotel, ground transportation, and food costs as a result of the cancellation. Secretary Buttigieg says if your flight was canceled by Southwest, you should expect the airline to reach out.
In writing, they're responsible or required to provide that when requested. But one of the things I push the airline to do is not to wait for somebody to have to request it, but to proactively offer that kind of compensation. They pledged to me that they're going to do that, and we're going to be watching closely to see that they live up to their commitments.
Buttigieg says his investigation of Southwest will continue in the coming days. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, a Supreme Court ruling means a Trump-era pandemic policy affecting migrants remains in effect for now.
Plus, colder at night, yes, but will at least be above freezing soon. Details on when things really get above normal on the way.
The Appalachian Wireless Holiday Sale is going on now. Appalachian Wireless has a holiday sale that will make